My name is Debi Silber. For those who don't know me, I'm also known as the Mojo coach. Who's ever baked a cake? Come on, you've all baked. Let's go. All right. All right. Try to bake a cake. Let's say you decided you wanted to bake the most delicious, moist, rich, unbelievable cake. Show of hands. Who's going to put in rotten eggs and stale flour and sour milk? No? Why? It's going to ruin your cake, right? So you're going to make a choice, and you're going to use your discretion, and you're going to say, no, I'm not allowing those things in, because they're going to ruin it, right? Well, think about it. When it comes to making a delicious life, do we exclude things that might ruin it? No. But it would be as if you put those things in your cake, and you taste your cake, you're like, oh, this is horrible. Why is it so bad? I don't understand. But we put those things in our life, and we don't understand why we're not happy, why we don't look our best, why we don't live our best. There's a really good chance you hadn't thought of any of this up until right now, right? With good reason. What happens is we sort of plod along. Just plod along. Our greatest goal might be nothing more than just getting through our day. Get through our day, we're just thrilled. And sometimes it really just takes an illness, a crisis, a tragedy, a trauma to wake us up, to reevaluate our lives. Just to say, hey, you know what? Am I living the way I want to? And very often, we're afraid to rock the boat. We want to stay safe. We're afraid. Think about how that fear holds you back. Who's ever gone off a diving board? Got off a diving board? Okay. Do you remember what happened when you went off the diving board? I'm going to tell you what happened. This was you. You walked up. I can't. And then you decide to try again. You're like, I really want to. I really want to. I really want to. No, no. Right? And then after you did that a bunch of times, you know what happened? Whatever went on, you decided it's time, and I'm going to move past my fear. What happened after that? I'll tell you what happened. Your poor mother couldn't drag you home because all you wanted to do was do it again and again and again. Because what happened? Right past that fear was joy, was bliss, was exhilaration. You found it, and it was right past that fear. Well, think about how fear holds us back now. Well, for many of us, maybe we stay in a toxic relationship because we're afraid to cut the ties. Maybe we stay overweight. We kind of hide behind those layers of protection. We're afraid of maybe the expectations. If we have this kind of new fit, sexy body, maybe we don't start a fitness program. We doubt we'll be able to stick with it. We're afraid we won't be able to stick with it. Maybe you don't train for a marathon. Maybe you don't start a new hobby. Maybe you don't start a new business because you're afraid you'll fail, or you're afraid of what others will think or say. So that's how that fear holds you back. Now, I want to ask you something. Who can walk? Show of hands. Who can tie your shoes? Ride a bike? Maybe not well, but ride a bike. Who can count to 10? Okay, I have news for you. At some points, when you were very young, you couldn't. And you were mad. You were frustrated, and with good reason. You had every reason to be frustrated. Because you knew, back then, this is before you learned fear. Fear is a learned thing. Before you learned fear, you knew there was nothing that you couldn't be, do, or have if you wanted it badly enough. And that's why you were so frustrated. So when you couldn't tie your shoe, you might have thrown it down. You might have thrown your bike down when you couldn't ride it. Throw that shoe down when you couldn't tie it. You might have cried. You might have gotten on the floor and had a full-blown temper tantrum. And with good reason. You were frustrated. Because by every right, you should have been able to do whatever you wanted to do. You didn't understand fear. You had none. You had this formula. When you had the desire for something, and it was so strong, and you wanted it badly enough, when you fueled it with enough emotion and enough passion, well, sure enough, you have that skill today. Think of any skill you have. When you decided, if you deemed it important enough, you have it. You have it. Now, I'm not talking about me, and I'm not talking about some famous person. I'm talking about you. So think about it. If this was you as a little kid, can you only imagine what you can do now? See, what happens, though, is we forget we have all the tools. And we forget that we have this formula. And it gets covered up by layers and layers and years of fear and doubt and insecurity. But it's there. It was there when you were a little kid. And just as your goal back then might have been any one of these, right? Walk, ride a bike, tie your shoes, whatever. Maybe your goal now is better health. Maybe it's a lean, fit, toned body. Maybe it's a positive, more positive, optimistic outlook. Maybe it's better outlets for your stress control. Maybe it's more loving, fulfilling, enjoyable relationships. Maybe it's greater joy, passion, and purpose. Whatever it is, you have all the tools you need. You had them back then. When you find that, and when you dust that off and realize that it's there for you, there is nothing that stops you from feeling, looking, or living your best. I want to thank you so much for your time and your attention. And I just can't wait to see what you do in the months ahead.